First things first, Kang is not this guy.
This is wild.
He is, however, a variant of this guy.
In this film, this is really a side of him we haven't seen. This is his baddest self.
Now you know that, let's get on with it. This movie was very much a fun movie, as you'd expect from most Marvel things. They try to keep it really light, and they really nailed it with this one. So I think it's a good start to the new phase that they're going into. Paul Rudd is a national treasure, and he's just amazing to watch in almost anything. So I feel like he really is the social lubricant of this entire film. So based on that alone, you should go watch this film. Maybe I watched this film through my biased love and admiration for Paul Rudd, so I was gonna love this movie either way. However, I think people are also saying that this film is actually pretty fun, and a lot of people are also enjoying it, so I can't be alone on this one. Now, for those of you who are crying out about the whole superhero fatigue that is happening, almost every cinema movie is aimed towards the superhero genre type of thing. I hear you, and I understand you. However, I want you guys to understand that I was one of those kids who was born in the 80s. Comic book were basically just books, so we had to use our imagination to figure out what, basically we had to use our imagination, and that was fine, but I am super grateful for the fact that we have technology to be able to live out these dreams, or our imagination are now able to be realized, and it's just fantastic. So I'm just coming from a place of gratefulness about being able to watch these superheroes in the way they were supposed to be imagined. I mean, the realism is just fantastic. It's pretty damn good, you gotta admit. Even if you hate all the superhero stuff, you gotta admit, the realism is pretty good, right? So as I like to say on this channel, no movie is inherently bad. It's just not for you. Strap in, this is going to be a bit of a long one because I need to lay down this foundation so that I can be able to explain the entire thing. I'm sure that there's probably a bunch of other YouTube videos that cover the nitty-gritties of it, but I'm just going to give you my 2 cents version of it. Here we go. This film stars Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, and their daughter played by Catherine Newman, which will be Cassandra Lang, and Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer reprising their previous role. So Michael Douglas plays Hank Pym and Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne. On the baddie side, you have Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, and that's pretty much the entire cast that you need to care about. So a bit of a story setup. Ant-Man is now settling into his life years after the bleep and is well known and loved by everyone in his city. He's kind of like a celebrity in the area. He gets free food and people get him to take pictures with dogs and etc. or so on and so forth. His daughter Cassie is all grown up, and his wife, which is also known as the Wasp, is running the Van Dyne company, and she's doing a good job, and everyone is absolutely doing very well in life. Hank and Jeanette are getting along, life is good. Everything seems to be working quite fine. Everything is rosy and beautiful. One day, his daughter is arrested for being part of a protest and using shrinking gizmo to shrink the cop's car. And to Scott's surprise, he was wondering where she got the shrinking gun from and how she got so deep into using those technologies to perform such activities. So it turns out, whilst everyone was gone in the bleep, the daughter and Hank and also Hope were in some ways a team, and they were figuring out how to do most of the Antman-y stuff. So she is well versed in the Antman antics. Basically, she was getting up to some weird antics in the basement and created some kind of portal that leads you to the quantum realm, and she was worried that the last time her dad was in there, she wasn't able to communicate with him, so she figured this would be the best solution if such thing were to ever happen again. This time she would be ready. Everyone was impressed with her achievement, including her very shocked and impressed Scott, her father, that she had created this thing, and he was genuinely happy for her, but a little bit worried at the same time. However, Janet was definitely not a fan of this at all because she was stuck in the quantum realm for about 30 years. So she thought this was an absolutely bad idea, and she quickly turned it off. So when she turned it off, then a signal came through. And when that signal came through, boom, it turns back on and everyone's sucked into the quantum realm. In the quantum realm, it turns out Janet is a bit of a rebel or a hero depending on which side you're on, and has previously met a traveler named Kang while she was in her little 30 years disappearance into this realm. Kang was a mild-mannered person who she sort of rescued from being eaten alive by some weird creatures in the quantum realm. So, and also Kang has also saved her as well from being eaten by other creatures in the quantum realm. So they sort of had a good relationship going, and Kang explained to her that he had crashed in the quantum realm and was trying to find a way to get out. However, he has all the technology and he just needs help fixing that technology. So Kang and Jeanette works closely together to fix this thing. But as she was about to touch this odd looking ball energy mind stony thingy inside a case, she now was able to get into this trance where she was able to see the life that Kang has lived and all the people he had conquered, or all the different timelines or time zones or realities or galaxies that he had conquered. And she is now shocked. She is now asking him, what did you used to do? Him realizing that she now knows a lot about him now tells her that he plays to win. So now, fearing that he is a danger to the entire existence of everybody, she decides to destroy his ball energy thingy mind stone thing. Well, she didn't necessarily destroy it, she just blew it up, and so that he cannot actually use it inside the device that he can plug it into. So now they're proper enemies, and she decides to avoid him by running away, and he tries to kill her, or is basically searching for her all through the quantum realm. And she was somehow able to join a rebellion and evade him for so long, up until she was saved by Hank Pym in Ant-Man 2. So back to this current timeline. Now that she and her family have been sucked through this quantum realm portal thing, she fears that Kang is going to find her and destroy her and her family because of what she had done to him earlier, well, 30 years prior, while she was in there. So that was the biggest worry for her. But the thing is, she hadn't told her family about Kang. She hasn't actually told her family at all about her time in the quantum realm. So they're not even sure what they're about to face. So now the gang has to figure out a way to get out of there, as well as fight this new enemy called Kang that they don't even know anything about. They don't know how brutal he is, but they've heard about how brutal he is from everyone else inside the quantum realm. And that's pretty much your entire movie right there. I would not go any further than that, because everything else is, you just go see the film. I think you would actually enjoy this if you're someone who just wants to watch something that is fun. It feels like Ant-Man 1 and 2. They kept the same theme and pacing, so they maintained that all the way through. So you can appreciate that. You would, if you were watching 1, 2 consecutively or simultaneously, you will be able to just go on to this specific one after you've watched obviously Avengers and so on. It would just not feel out of place. So it feels like a proper continuation. What's the best thing about this movie? It's just a simple popcorn type of movie. You just sit down there and you just enjoy it. That's all. That's what Marvel is about. The colors are pretty. It's a visual spectacle as expected from any big budget Marvel anything, to be honest. So you will just be fine. One of the other best things about this film is Jonathan Majors as Kang. Now, you know this guy bodies any movie he's in. He's fantastic. He's an up-and-coming actor right now and everyone's enjoying him. The rest of Hollywood can't have enough of this guy, and I can see why. He just embodied Kang so damn well, and it's just impressive. Especially if you've watched Loki, which is the final episodes of Loki, which is on Disney. If you haven't seen that, you should, because that ties into this quite a lot. Well, it's basically the punchline of this movie, so go see that one. Also, Jonathan Majors as Kang did not feel cheesy. Like most supervillains feel kind of cheesy, he does not feel cheesy in this role. So he's a respectable actor because he really carried this through. I was impressed with him as a villain. Also, on a weird side note, like I usually go on my tangents, Jonathan Majors is in 2 big budget films coming out in 2023. They're in cinemas right now. The other one is Creed, and the other one is this movie that I'm talking about right now. He plays a bad guy in both of them, so I see that that's something he pulls off quite well, but I can see in the future he would play more probably hero characters. He did that in the film, which is called The Harder They Fall. So he's already played a goodie, but in this year he's gonna be playing 2 baddies, and you know, it's got to be a lot of fun for him. So he's making waves in Hollywood right now, and I'm impressed and happy for this guy. He doesn't even know who I am, but I'm happy for him. Also, another thing that makes this film fantastic is Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd being a national treasure in almost every scene you watch. He's just a pleasure to have on the screen because he's just nice, hilarious, and he's the smoothness of the entire film because he's a lovable guy. National treasure. Also, there's this weird little jelly red creature from the quantum realm. It's a bit of a comic relief. It's actually it's a really hilarious character, and for some reason loves holes. Yes, you heard me, holes. Okay, so the worst thing about this film is, or the one that just drives me absolutely nuts, is Janet Van Dyne. She was stuck in the quantum realm for 30 years. She got out, her daughter wanted to talk about it, but she didn't want to talk about the quantum realm. She just absolutely didn't want to have a word about it at all. So if she had told her daughter about where she had been and all her experiences, Cassandra wouldn't have built the portal, or she would have been more cautious about building the portal to the quantum realm. They're about to experience things that if she had told them, they would have all been prepared for, to be able to, you know, they would have been ready to be able to fight Kang, or at least none of Kang, and this would have been a far easier journey. Now, I understand that they didn't put that into this because then that ruins the whole adventure, and you know, the whole movie ends there. However, what I'm saying is that this is lazy writing, because I know that writers just wanted to make sure that the story just flows on, but if you think about it, you're just kind of like, well, if she told him about Kang, they'll be way more prepared. Why the hell didn't she talk about the whole 30 years that she was in there? She just came back from there. Everyone would care to know what happened in this quantum realm. She just never talked about it. It's kind of annoying. If you saw in the trailers, you'd have seen Bill Murray. Bill Murray makes an appearance in this film, and I think there was a misuse of his ability. I appreciated that he was on screen, but his appearance did not propel the story anywhere at all. It was just fun to have him in there, but I just don't, like, the film would have worked out exactly the same way even if he wasn't in it. So I thought that was an absolute misuse, but maybe someone in the studios is like, we gotta have Bill Murray in here. He's always fun to see, and they're not wrong, but I just thought it was not a good use of his skill. Ant-Man's suit is now nanotech, like Tony Stark's final suit. But when his helmet gets damaged, he's able to rip it out and throw it on the floor like it's made out of metal. Which one is it? Is it nano or metal? Because if it is nano, then it gets damaged. Shouldn't it replenish itself because of it's not specifically metal? It just, which one is it? That's, I don't know. I'm just overthinking that, but I just thought, which one is it? Another thing I find annoying, or the worst, well, it's not specifically the worst thing about this film, but it's the fact that we have 2 end credits. One is enough, because most people had left after they saw the first post-credits scene, not knowing that there's going to be a second one when the entire credits have rolled through. Just one is enough. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I appreciate it as a Marvel fan. Like, I'll sit there and I'll watch it to see if there's another Thanos turning up. But I was just figuring that, you know, just one should be enough, please. Can you watch this film while playing on your mobile phone? Yes, you can. It's more likely that you will be able to play with your mobile phone while watching this at home, but if you're in cinemas, obviously you wouldn't do that. But yes, you passively can watch this film while playing on your mobile phone, but should really pay attention. Should you watch it? Hell yeah, you should watch it. I think this film is a massive ball of fun. It just brings a little ray of joy into our lives, and that's if you let it. Just eat your popcorn and just don't think too much about it. Don't get too deep about the whole thing. Don't be all pretentious like, oh, I hate superhero movies. It's just supposed to be fun. There was a time we didn't have the technology to do this, and now we do. Just appreciate it for what it is. It's not supposed to win Oscars, and it's not supposed to be mind-blowing and, in an intelligent, intellectual way. It's just fun. So I enjoyed it, and I think you should go watch it. This is my 2 cents. Stick around, find out my score for this film out of 10.